One of the things that we really need to understand regarding the conversation of Roe versus Wade is, what does God's word actually say about human life? Many people who are in favor of abortion will say that a fetus or an unborn baby is simply a clump of cells, especially in the beginning. So, what does God's word say about life and when it actually begins? Well, we understand that life starts when a male sperm comes into contact and fertilizes a female egg. It is at the moment of conception that life begins. From that moment forward, there is the potential for life. Life has already started. It is growing, it is maturing, it is becoming something, and ultimately it's developing to the point to where it will be ready to be delivered fully into the world and to begin life outside the womb. However, it's important for us to realize that life has already begun on the inside of the womb. In Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5, it tells us that God knows us while we are still in the womb. Well, for God to know us, that means that we have to be knowable. And to be knowable, that means that we have to have a human spirit. The human spirit comes into being the moment that a human being is created, at the moment of conception. In Psalm chapter 139, verses 13 through 16, it says that God takes an active role in our creation while we are being formed within the womb. So the preborn, those children who have not yet been born, they are not simply fetuses. They are not simply cells. They are not simply something that are turning into a human being. They are fully a human being from the moment they are conceived. And to do anything to prevent that life from moving forward is killing. It is stopping a human life. In Exodus chapter 21, verses 22 through 25, it says that there is the same penalty for killing the baby inside the womb as there is for killing a human being outside the womb. In other words, the unborn, the preborn, and the born have the same value and are considered to contain the same amount of life from God's perspective. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 through 27, it tells us that every life, every human life, is created in God's image. So the moment that a baby is formed within the mother's womb, the moment that a baby is conceived, God's image is imparted onto that human child. Now, the reason that we use some of these verbal and mental gymnastics and begin to come up with other terms like fetus is because somehow it waters down within the human psyche exactly what is occurring when an abortion happens. Now, we do this because we want to justify the behavior, but from the perspective of God's word, anytime we prevent or stop life, once it has begun, we are killing. Because to stop life is to kill life. And to kill a human being, from God's perspective, is one of the gravest sins that a human being can get into, that a human being can be a part of. And so when we're having this conversation about abortion and about Roe versus Wade and the potential of it being overturned, we want to realize that the reasons that people get abortions, the reason that women do these things, and the reason that certain people propagate this idea that it is a woman's choice of what to do with her body. Well, we don't want to be crass. We don't want to be intentionally rude. We don't want to be hateful or spiteful, but we do need to stand firm on the truth of God's word that a woman has the right to choose what to do with her body. But once a woman becomes pregnant, well, now there is another human body inside of her. And so it's not just her body that she is making decisions for. We'll talk about that a little bit more in our next video.